Professor Yemi Osinbajo continues consultations with regional and ethnic leaders and the bill to keep Nigeria one. October 4th deadline is now rampant. And the political tussle in Kogi State rages on as efforts to remove Senator Dino Melaye, representing Kogi West, is intensified. But the lawmaker says the process is a comedy and should not be taken seriously. Many thanks for joining in, everyone. What an interesting evening. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Seun Melaye in Lagos. Where should we begin? Let's begin in Kogi State, where things are getting rather interesting by the day. First and foremost, we need to tell you that the move to remove Senator Dino Melaye intensifies as his constituents are now moving up and gearing their efforts in recalling the senator, whom they say they want to remove by all means. Some of the constituents say they have more than enough to remove the votes to remove him. They claim they will submit the votes and petition to INEC to finalize the process. But the senator has reacted. He told Channels Television, and I quote, he says, the whole process or the exercise is a comedy. Nobody should take it seriously. The whole thing is shrouded in money politics and cannot stand. And of course, that's according to Senator Dino Melaye. Well, the process to recall Dino Melaye, senator representing Kogi West, is gathering pace. But are they on the right track? Here are important numbers you need to know as regarding some of the issues on the table. First and foremost, those calling for the senator's recall have 52.3% already. That's what they're saying, which would need to be verified by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. And that 52.3% represent 188,588 of the 360,098 registered voters in the Kogi West Senatorial District. So 188,588 signed the petition for the recall, but 79,268 people voted in the election, which saw Senator Dino Melaye as a lawmaker representing that constituency. Well, Senator Melaye polled only 41,120 votes, while his closest opponent, Smart Adeyemi, who ran on the platform of the PDP then, but is now a member of the APC, had 38,148 votes. But what does it take to recall a senator? Let's get some perspectives to this matter now. We'll get an elaborate explanation somewhat in just these few minutes. I will be speaking with the National Coordinator of Election Monitor, Mr. Abiodun Ajijola, who joins us from Akure. Many thanks, Mr. Ajijola, for coming on the program. What does the law say, and how does the process go in recalling a senator or a lawmaker of the Federal Republic?
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having me. The first thing is that you must have a certain number of signatures, and those signatures must be signed by registered voters within that senatorial district. So what the law states in Section 69 of the Nigerian 1999 Constitution is that you must have at least 50% of registered voters within that senatorial district plus one, which is a majority of one. So that means you have 50% plus one person. And currently, as of the 24th of November, when we had the last governorship exercise in Kogi State, we had about 356,933 registered voters. And if you divide that by 2 and add 1, you have 178,468 as the minimum number of registered voters that you will need to begin the process. Because when you get this number that have signed the petition, then you can submit it to the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, who will now begin to look into the issue. The commission will now cross-check to confirm that these signatures are valid. And that is a very significant area and a big issue, because you know what it would take to cross-check almost 200,000. Then after that, if it does confirm that over 50% plus one at least have been able to be verified as requesting or demanding the recall, then it will invite to notify the senator, make a public notice for a referendum. And then so many processes, but at the point of the referendum, it will be a simple yes or no, simple majority. Do you want to recall the senator or you don't want to? And if the yes have above 50%, the senator is recalled. But if it is below 50%, the senator is not recalled. And then if he's recalled, the process is the Senate President will be informed, and then the Senate President will have to show the senator the way out.
Mr. Ajijola, it does look like a very, very, very long process. It looks like a process in impeaching the president. Looks like a very long one. Just like the section 116 of the Electoral Act as amended 2010 did say that a member of an area council may be recorded as a member if and that's the same section that applies to a senator of the Federal Republic in the issue of recalling them. There is presented to the chairman of the commission a petition in that behalf signed by not less than one-half of the persons registered to vote in that member's constituency, alleging the loss of confidence in that member and which signatures are duly verified by the Independent National Electoral Commission. We need to underline one major factor here, that less than one-half and verified by INEC, which some of the issues that you've mentioned. The section B of that section, the subsection B says the petition is thereafter approved in a referendum. That's another very strenuous exercise. But again, I would like you to explain that all of this process will have to be determined by the Senate President, isn't it?
Well, not really. It's basically a process that will be conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission. It is only at the time that the referendum has been concluded and it has been determined that the registered voters in the in the senatorial district have overwhelmingly decided by a simple majority to recall the senator. After the referendum, it is at that point that the Senate President is involved. Before then, everything is carried out by INEC.
Yeah, exactly what I mean. What I'm saying that the result of the recall from the voting and the petition, and the INEC will have to go to the National Assembly, but the Senate President will be the man to say on the floor to announce whether or not the senator will be recalled, isn't it? That's what I'm trying to point out here.
Yes, of course, that is what the guidelines state and the law says. And I don't think at a point where the referendum has been conducted and the result has been returned that there's any choice. At that point, it's only to announce what the result is. Because if the referendum has been carried out, people have voted, and before I allow you a decision.
Before I allow you go, Mr. Ajijola, because of our time, it's going to be interesting if you look at the figures, because in an electoral process and in politics, numbers are very important. One of the allegations from the senator is that, look, some of these names and signatures are forged and have been duplicated, same handwriting all over the place, and these are some of the allegations that are coming up. The veracity of the figures that have been peddled or been put forward by the opposition to Senator Melaye, how realistic are those numbers? If you look at those who voted, can you realistically get those numbers to now come forward for a recall?
Yeah, for me personally, I think it's a very tall order to achieve. Because, for example, we have, from what we've read in the press, 188,000 and about 500 people that have, so to say, signed the petition. And if you have an election in 2016, the voter turnout was just 3-4%, with about 356,933 registered voters, of which 118,987 voted. That is all the candidates, all the people that voted for all the candidates, plus the rejected votes. The total votes cast was 118,987, which is just about, about 41% of the total registered voters. So now, you are having about 188,000, which is about 70,000 additional than the total voter turnout in the election. And remember, 41,120 voted for the senator. So what are we saying? That 188,000 people are all against the senator. And if he has his own people, for example, the law says he just needs 50%. Now, if you have just 52% or 52.3% that have signed, it means that if for any reason you are able to get only 49.9% actually be verified, even that 0.1% will nullify the petition.
It's going to be a very interesting few days for Senator Dino Melaye and his political opponents as the battlefield in that state gets more and more interesting. Many thanks, Mr. Abiodun Ajijola, for the perspectives here.